Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. We're talking about the GDP from the USA. So it's coming out. We've just had inflation data from Germany, and it's not a good picture. So this does lead to a couple conclusions, which we're going to cover later on in the stream. I guess first things first, AJ, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. Doing well, thank you.
Yeah.
Excited to see how the market reacts to this, and if the market does react, in fact, anyway.
Yes, absolutely. So, I think we will get a bit of a reaction. Overall, you can see here the Dow, the S&P, everything is pretty much down. Not by a huge amount. Nasdaq futures down by 1.1%. A little bit of change at the moment. Volatility up massively. Now, what I think partly that's down to is that we did see from Germany, as I mentioned, inflation rate coming in at 10% when actually it was anticipated to be around 9.4. So this basically means high inflation across Germany. Now, Germany is the largest economy within the European Union. So it leads us to believe that, in fact, if Germany is the largest contributor to the euro area, then maybe their inflation will come in higher than expected, which might give us some indication that, in fact, all of this inflation is going to be high, GDP is going to be low, and so where will money be going? They will be going to the USA. And that's what we're finding out. Where is it? Today. So we might begin to see a dollar getting stronger throughout today's trading, as you see here, or as we will potentially see. Should we have a quick look at the dollar before we get this data from Bloomberg?
Yes, yeah, let's do that. So if I just pull, let me just pull that up.
See if there's any immediate reactions.
Yeah, so we can see very clearly that the dollar is having a slight pullback during the sort of past day or so, and we are in this very big uptrend on this DXY. You've heard me talk about this before. Now, what we could be seeing with this DXY pullback is we could be seeing the DXY form another higher low. So if we have a look here, we can see that the DXY is forming a number of higher highs and higher lows, as you can very clearly see here. Mess that chart up a little bit there, but there you go. You can see that we are forming higher highs and higher lows very clearly on this DXY, and what we could be seeing with this pullback on the DXY is another potential higher low. So the previous higher low was at 107.7. Now we could be pulling back to form another higher low where we could then continue towards the upside, depending on how the market reacts to the data coming out today, and we could potentially come a little bit lower and then push more towards the upside, creating another higher high, continuing this bullish momentum towards the upside for the DXY, which, as we know, is bearish for traditional markets and the crypto market.
Yeah. Just to quickly show GDP growth rate, it's come in as expected at a minus 0.6 here. So obviously, it's kind of on target. I don't imagine it will be moving the market too much at the moment. But yeah, just as you said yesterday, AJ, just to reiterate, your whole point there, which was that we are going to have to see a little reset of the DXY every now and again, and we will have these pullbacks to form those new higher lows. And I think that probably is what we saw, because there was a bit of a pump over the evening, wasn't there, for Bitcoin and crypto in general.
So there was a bit of a pump when?
Yeah, for Bitcoin, like it kind of like it pumped a
Yeah,
little bit yesterday, I believe, after our
yeah.
stream during the US trading day.
Yeah. If we have a
Um,
look on the shorter time frames, yeah, we had a
Sorry, I
little
just want to
push.
quickly mention, just before we get into that, US weekly jobless claims are at 193,000, estimated 215. So 193 new people claimed or basically said, "Hey, I'm jobless," when there was an estimated 215. So we wanted more people to be jobless, but in fact, there's less people who are jobless, which this indicates to a stronger. Let's see if they say yeah. So this indicates to a stronger market, which means the US are going to have to do something a little bit more serious over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah. Not really seeing much of a
Let me know, AJ,
reaction.
if you want to just watch this for a little second.
Yeah, yeah. The sound isn't on yet. I don't know
It's
if you
not.
can. No, it's not.
Ah, I don't know what's happening. But okay, so yeah, I mean, we don't really need sound to be honest. Yields are going, they're just lifting up. I don't know if you can see on that chart. Slight, obviously they pulled back, and then a slight lift to the upside. So the yield is going up very, very slightly. Which again, yeah, and I think because we have a weaker job market, oh sorry, a stronger job market than anticipated. Again, this is going to be like, hey, the Fed needs to do more, and so you see these Nasdaq futures continuing to decrease. That one point, started off at what was it, 1 point, I think it was 1.18, now it's 1.3, that we're in the negative here. So it's not looking good for risk on assets. So yeah, and again, that's kind of iterated here. Risk off sentiment returns with focus on inflation, and now obviously with the job market. Is there any reaction in the price of Bitcoin here, AJ?
Looking at the shorter time frames, no, there isn't.
No,
Not
good.
really a
That's
reaction
good.
at all. We're just having a little push towards the upside, downside right now. On this 5 minute chart, we are within this range right here, so we can actually put a fixed range on this chart. And as we can see, we're at the value area low right now. If we do lose this value area low, we get a confirmed retest of the value area low and then a rejection, we could see the price come down a little bit further. We could see the price pull back more, losing the previous low from back here, which is at $19,250. But right now, it looks as though we are getting that slight break towards the downside. We are at major support as well on that S&P 500. We did touch it this morning. We have pushed up a tiny little bit, but this is holding as support as of right now. We talked about this level being a major level from this previous swing low here, and it's also been a major support level after the break towards the upside here and a bit of resistance. So S&P 500 is at major support. If the S&P 500 breaks this support, I do think that Bitcoin is going to come down further, which does actually signal that we could potentially break this area here around 19,000, between $18,500 and what's that, 19,000 approximately. That area there, if we do lose that, we could see the price come down a lot further. And we are coming to the end of the week. We are getting closer to that weekly candle close. If we do get a break towards the downside of this major support, we could see a lot of pain as well. So, yeah, the S&P 500, we need to hold this if we want to see any bullish price action for the crypto market. But if we do lose this on the S&P 500, we would most likely see a lot more pain in the crypto market as well. And of course, the DXY potentially forming that higher low right there. If that continues towards the upside and forms another higher high, then traditional market and the crypto market is going to be pushing towards the downside. But right now, we are getting a little a sell-off right now. We are seeing the price push down, losing that value area low. A lot of volume coming in as well, as we can see on this 5 minutes. So maybe we are getting that negative reaction to what has just come out.
Yeah, no, we absolutely are. I'm just having a little listen to what's going on Bloomberg, but yeah, and they're literally just pretty much saying what's the Fed stance now going to have to be? I can bring that up. Yeah, what's the Fed stance now going to have to be if we are seeing a much stronger, well, not a much stronger job market, but stronger than anticipated, and that is that we're going to have a lot more pain for longer, which I think is, as you just see on the screen here, the dollar index is going up very slightly. So that's obviously people being like, right, well, we're not going to have any recovery from the risk assets. So those are the commodities, the likes of equities. And so then, let's move into bonds, let's say.
Yeah.
And
So
so, yeah, people are moving into cash, people are moving into bonds, and that's why we're seeing the DXY go up, and stuff like the futures, the Nasdaq futures, come down to now 1.85 negative, and a couple of minutes ago. So that's almost a 1% drop. And also you see volatility continuing to increase, the volatility index, as we see here. So Yeah, and it's being reflected on Bitcoin, right?
Yes, yes, a little bit.
You
We
go
are
to
having
like a 1 minute or a 2 minute and see if just I want to just have a little look see. Right, okay, yeah. So there's that big negative reaction there
yeah.
from the news coming out. Yeah, a little bit. Okay.
And we're
Uh,
seeing that push towards the upside on the DXY. This is a 12-hour chart, but
yeah,
as you can very clearly see, we have no wick towards the upside. We are pushing towards the upside on that DXY. Of course, that's going to push Bitcoin down. That's why we're seeing Bitcoin push down, and then of course we're going to see that traditional market come down as well. And you mentioned bonds as well. The bond yield has started to come back up again as well. If we can have a look at that on, say, a smaller time frame. Yeah, we've seen that push a little bit towards the upside as the DXY has pushed towards the upside as well, and the
yeah.
traditional market is having that little push towards the downside. So, yeah, it's just more bearish news to add on to the bearish news that we already have.
Yeah. AJ, can you do a little bit of technical on Algorand? Just have a little look at that. I want to quickly mention something first.
Yeah,
So I'll bring this up. Yeah. So back on the screen, obviously, very negative, not great. Watch out. That's basically it. So, but by the way, guys, when you see these futures, this means that the market hasn't opened yet in the US. So they have the futures market. So it means when the market does open, let's say it's at 100, it's then going to open up 1.8% less. Just to kind of clarify if anyone was, uncertain of that. Two bits of news I want to give to you guys. In fact, actually, kind of three, but mainly two. Firstly, Lightning Labs have released an update to allow assets to be sent over Bitcoin's network, which is actually pretty cool. So we're seeing more of this Lightning Network integration, which obviously, if you don't know, the Bitcoin network is great for many things, but sending money or transactions, it does take a long time to be able to actually facilitate a transaction because you have to wait for a new block to be created, and one is created every 10 minutes or so, I believe. That time, I think it's the time that it stays consistent. It's around 10 minutes, and then the algorithm becomes more or less difficult to solve depending on the hash rate and the power. But anyway, side note. So what people do, and this is exactly what happens in El Salvador, people use the Lightning Network. So it's just a network to, immediately do transactions very, very quickly using the Bitcoin network. But yes, there has been Lightning Labs have released the initial code for the Taro protocol that will allow developers to mint, send, and receive assets on the Bitcoin blockchain, which is just another push towards having more use cases for Bitcoin, which I actually really, really like. And when completed, Taro protocol will allow users to issue and mint assets such as stable coins on the Bitcoin network and transfer them via the Lightning network. So it's not so much that we're only now kind of looking at the likes of, I don't know, Cardano or these layer one solutions to enable us to have stable coins. Things like Bitcoin will allow us to have I guess, more use for a coin, which is very, very good. And I guess I'll come on to Sweden in a second. But here with Kazakhstan, this is something that is, I'm thinking long term here, guys. Kazakhstan are ready to legalize crypto as Russians flock to the country. Now, as some of you might know, Russians have been locked out of a lot of banking. You can't really send money internationally if you're a Russian citizen. So how do you get your money out of the country? So I think as we begin to see more of a divide between the West and the East, the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, versus, let's say Europe and the US, we will probably see a little bit more of this type of legalization of cryptocurrencies to allow people to move money in and out. I know China are going to be very difficult with that, and that's a whole other thing. But this is actually quite good. So this is another country that is looking to legalize cryptos, as a first major bank in Kazakhstan completed its first purchase of crypto for fiat, and the president is ready to approve exchange activities. So again, another bit of adoption for the cryptocurrency world. Let me know down in the comments, do you think this is good for crypto? Or do you think this will align crypto with all of the shady practices of the weird communist guys? That's just, not my opinion, but this is exactly what the US, for example, would probably be looking at this, and they would say, oh, I always knew it was made for illegal activities, and we don't like the Russians, we don't like the Kazakhs. So is that going to be something that kind of throws us off? Let me know. And finally, guys, Sweden's central bank tests a CBDC for retail and international remittance. Remember a couple of days ago, we went live when we were looking at the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, also the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, and then also there were three other guys, but I don't really know who they are, unfortunately, or I've forgotten their names, I should say. But anyway, they were talking about CBDCs and should we have a crypto? Should crypto be the way forward for digital currencies? And they essentially said, no, we need a central bank digital currency instead of the likes of Bitcoin, for example. So Bitcoin will probably never be international money, the gold, the reserve currency, but people are looking to have a CBDC. And so this has been successfully tested with Sweden's central bank, along with central banks in Israel and Norway and the Bank of International Settlements, which is quite good. It's a big step. I think this moves towards people understanding blockchain technology, which is a very, very good move. And hopefully, once the government have blockchain technology, that will then pump the likes of Ethereum and allow smart contracts to kind of be more integrated into the world. So I think layer ones, this would be good for those. Had to just give you that little bit of a rant. Here some questions. So grumpy that I missed the short from 19.5. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great, Dan. Unfortunately, the famous story of the fake out breakout. Bitcoin is the star. Yeah, absolutely. Should we have a quick look at have you got Algorand up,
Yeah,
or do
yeah,
you want
I've
to
got
go?
Algorand up.
Let's
So
do
just
that.
looking at the daily chart, there's nothing really exciting on the shorter time frames, but what we can see on the dailies, we can see a very, very clear range right here. We are trading within this range, and we also do have a daily level as well at the bottom here. You can see lots of support along that daily level, and that's coming in confluence with the value area low from this fixed range. And if we do lose that, I would expect to see a lot of price action, a lot more price action towards the downside than we've already seen. We could also potentially take this as some sort of bear flag, but because we are just trending sideways, I wouldn't really look at it as being a bear flag. We could talk about this sort of shorter range here being some sort of bear flag, but that looked to be invalidated. So what I'm looking at it now as being is just this range and potentially just a parallel channel. So if we did get the break towards the downside, because there is confluence as well, there would be a lot of price action towards the downside, I would expect. However, it is going to be a major support this level here, approximately around the 0.28 and the 0.29 level. That is going to be major support because, as I said, we have that daily level there, and we also have the value area low. So as you can see up here, we've had sort of a fake out from the breakout of the value area, the fixed range. And we have come back down into it. Of course, if we are going to see Bitcoin have that next leg down, we're going to see these altcoins get hit a lot harder as well. So Algorand, it looks like we could come back down to this daily level, this value area low. That's what I'll be looking at the price doing next. And as I said, it's going to be major support here. So we could expect another bounce. However, if Bitcoin does continue towards the downside, we will most likely get a break towards the downside of this value area low and this daily level. So if I was going to short this, I would short only on the breakout or the breakdown, of the value area low and that daily level. Then I'd either be looking for high volume on that breakdown, or if we didn't see high volume, I would be looking for a retest and then a rejection from that level. And I'll be looking at getting in at the retests and the rejection as well from the retest. So that's what I'll be looking at there. For now, I'll just be holding off, waiting to see if we do come back down to this major level here. As I said, value area low and daily level. So a lot of confluence is sitting there.
Yeah, and just to mention, looking at this slightly on a more fundamental, long-term approach, shall we say, just to make sure. Oh, hang on one sec. My mouse ruined. Tom and Jerry, it's not working out. Which one was Tom or Jerry? The mouse and the cat. I've forgotten which
Tom
ones.
was the mouse, I think. No, Tom, I can't remember. There's too
Yeah,
many.
guys, let us know. That's a banging show. Anyway, so this is Algorand. This is their website. Transaction fees extremely low, which is obviously a very big positive. Algorand, I think, is one of those layer ones that will probably move into the top 20. During last pumpy season, bull run, as everyone likes to call it, but I like to call it pumpy season. We usually see a massive mix up between the layer ones that are in the top 20. So I think during the next one, the ones that are currently there probably won't be as much. And so there will be some replacement. Algorand, I think, will creep up. Very low transaction fees. Currently, it kind of flies under the radar, but does sometimes get a lot of traction because it does slightly deserve it. So they are claiming the world's most powerful and sustainable blockchain. So they say that they have the first and only to achieve decentralization, scalability, and security, which, as we know, is the trilemma in cryptocurrency. You can only have two, so you can have decentralization and scalability, but you can't have security, or you can have, any mix. But these claim to have done this. One thing that I do like is that we can have a look at this. So they are the green blockchain. And obviously, as we know, with proof of work causing to be such an issue, like the EU almost just banned anything that operated on proof of work, which would have included Bitcoin, just because of the whole, carbon footprint. So being a green blockchain is extremely good. And also they plant loads of trees to offset their carbon footprint with climate trade. So this is a good thing for big investors, I will say. The TVL, total value locked, currently sitting at 240 million. Not massive, so still a little bit of a sleeper, but I think it's actually relatively good. And also, so you can keep an eye on this DeFi Llama if you want to see how this increases. But I think the reason either why you were looking at it, whoever it was asked the question, or why everyone else is that they have a collaboration with FIFA, and this was launched last weekend. So they are using FIFA for NFTs. So on the marketplace, users can buy a variety of NFT items. Now, I do think people will pay to have a unique kit, or they might have, I don't know, let's take a retired player, for example, someone who, shouldn't be on the game. If you could have Diego Maradona, for example, you pay, you get him as an NFT, and he becomes your captain. Something like that. I think is quite a cool idea. And if FIFA, if you want to buy that idea off me, then let me know.
But that's where I
um,
think NFTs are going to go in the future. Just to add
yeah,
on to that, because talking about FIFA, I used to play FIFA when I was younger. If you don't know what it is, it's basically just a football game, and it's one of the biggest sports game out there. And you
yeah,
spend a load of money on the game if you actually want to get a good team, but you don't get anything out of it. You all you get is what's on the game. You can win players and stuff like that on the game, but it doesn't equate to anything in the real life. And I think this is where NFTs can step in, and you get, instead of getting rewarded a player, you get rewarded a player as an NFT, and you can actually sell that player for that NFT, that player for real money. And I think if they integrate that into the game, then it's not wasting your life away. Because for me, I quit playing video games because I felt like I was just wasting my life away. It wasn't doing anything for my life. But if we could implement NFTs into games, then we could actually make money off playing, say, FIFA. And it wouldn't
yeah.
be sort of a waste of time. I know it's fun, but it doesn't really help you with anything in life.
No, you're absolutely correct there. And so obviously FIFA is played by millions of people. One
Yeah.
thing that is interesting though is I know EA, so they are the people who make the game, and FIFA provide the brand. They broke their partnership off because I think FIFA wanted like $1.5 billion just to use the name. So now FIFA will be using a different game builder. I don't know why. I don't know if that has any bearing on this relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, I think there's a bit of a risk for Algorand because they've tied themselves to the FIFA brand, but EA are the ones who make the good game.
Yeah.
So are people still going to buy FIFA? I don't know. I think EA are going to come out with their own game, but yeah, this could be a very very good, massive massive partnership to put Algorand on the face of the map, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it could be very good.
I think someone will come off and knock FIFA, to be fair, because they come out with the same game every year, just a little bit updated, and they make a
Yeah, it is. It
ton of
is.
money. So
But
I
I mean,
think
there's
someone's going
Pro
to come
Evo,
and knock
isn't
it
there?
off the pedestal. Sorry,
There's Pro Evo Soccer,
to
Pro
be fair.
Evolution.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Pez. That's what they call
yeah,
it.
Pez. Yeah, Pez. Yeah. So like, I mean that's a game, but obviously like, because thing is, I think they bought Juventus the right to use
Yeah,
Juventus's like actual name,
and
but
the
that's kind
Barcelona
of all.
Stadium or something.
Yeah. But all of the rest of them, they're like, Liverpool is like Merseyside Red.
Yeah,
It's just not the same like feeling. So
it's
I
not.
don't know
No,
how they're still in business, to be fair.
no, neither. No.
But yeah, just an opinion here about NFTs from Esteban. So the NFTs are the future for gaming. I have a few. I have like 15 axes from ASX Play. Yes, yeah, that's one thing. I
Yeah,
think, I mean, they mastered, NFTs in games, and that
yeah.
whole play to earn system really did well for them. And he just bought one from Steppen, the move to earn. Yes, do you know what? I don't have Step In. I have like a different one. I think I've got like the rubbish, the wish.com version of that. But like, it tracks my steps and it gives me like I don't know what crypto it is. Um, but yeah, because I don't know, it's probably not good.
Yeah, I don't get all the NFT arts. For me personally, it's just a hype that's the train's already gone and left and crashed
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, it has. I mean, I think NFT volume I read today down by 95% since January. Was it January?
Yeah,
Was it last year? I think it's last year. But yeah, I mean, it's a trader's market. It's literally just a trader's market. You
yeah,
buy an NFT, you flip it, and then you leave someone holding the bag, and then you move on to the next project. That was the only way to make money. You
yeah,
know, and I mean, yeah, I would say no, that's absolutely true. I know some of you are going to be like, oh, but was it cyberpunks are still worth millions. They're worth millions, but they were worth tens of millions.
yeah,
So even still, it's not, everyone got too hyped. But one project, if we are, like, just while we're talking about NFTs, if you are interested in a project, go on. No, it's ecomi. That's what I want, isn't it? So VV is the coin. No, ecomi is the coin. VV is the thing. And this, how it's like FIFA, for example. Everyone loves
yeah.
FIFA. You will want to, have your own thing. But if you can collect your own, like, NFT of like a Star Wars thing, um, or Marvel, DC, Ghostbusters, Powerpuff Girls, was actually quite a good show in its time. To be fair, I rated that. And
Of
like
course it
Dexter's Laboratory.
is.
But maybe I'm just showing my age. And then yeah, Batman, Star Trek, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Superman, Harley Quinn. Also, one thing with this, the Back to the Future, if you bought it, what you could do is you could like use AR, so it would project onto a surface, and you could like have a look around at all the details and stuff. It was actually really cool. So this is where I do think people are going to want to get involved. There'll be a movie that comes out or a series, and they say, hey, if you want an extra, like, I don't know, you see a director's cut or whatever, you get an NFT of the main character. This is where I see them going, and I do think it'll be quite a big thing. And especially if there's like, your favorite Marvel character, you get an interactive AR version of him where like you put your phone there and he jumps on your desk or something. That type of stuff I think will probably sell really well. And I
Yeah,
think Vivi are very well positioned to, because of the networks that they have, to take advantage of that. So yeah, I think these are a very good shout.
yeah. I
Not
think it could
financial
go
advice.
far, but with arts, I think it's all hype. But yeah, definitely it can go far, and VV looks like they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So yeah, very much a good shout. Anyway, we've got very much off topic here. Should we just
Yeah.
wrap up, have a quick look at the DXY, see if there is anything interesting happening on there? Any reactions that we've seen?
Nothing much. If we have a look on the
No?
short time frame, we can see that we have been slowly pushing towards the upside. Now
Yeah,
I am expecting to form a higher low. Where that higher low is going to be, I can't predict that, but I do expect we are going to have that high low. This could potentially be that higher low, and then we could potentially push towards the upside. But if this is not the higher low, then we could see the price pull back a little bit more and maybe form a higher low further down here. But we do have to remember as well, this 112 dollar level here is going to act as support. It has been major resistance previously. So it is going to act as support. We did break above it. We got a wick retest of it here, and then we continue towards the upside. So it is going to act as support if we were to come down here. Maybe we could form that higher low here and then push towards the upside, or maybe we've already formed that higher low and then we push towards the upside. Whatever the case is, wherever we do establish that next higher low, I do still think we are going to form that higher low and we are going to break this previous high here, which is at 114.78. And I do think we're going to create another higher high and continue this uptrend on that DXY. The next target I do have is actually around 120, which obviously is going to be very, very bearish for the crypto market and the traditional market as well. Talking about we talked about the S&P 500. If that breaks the support, if the DXY pushes, the S&P 500 will most likely break this support. We'll see the price pull back potentially all the way down to 3,230, which will most definitely push the price of Bitcoin below this level of support here. If we push below that level of support, it means we're getting very close to breaking this major support on the weekly chart. If we do break that, then for me, the confirmation is there that we are most likely going to come down to around $12,000. That would be my next target. Of course, we could get the break towards the downside and then the continuation straight down, or we could get the break towards the downside and then a retest of that previous support as resistance, and then we could come down. But yeah, it's not looking too good. As we said yesterday, we're treading on very, very thin ice right now, and I do think the ice is about to crack. And I think within the next 2 months, we could see the price actually pulling back down to, these lows, 14,000, 13,000, maybe even hitting that $12,000 target approximately. So yeah, we are getting very close, I do think, to breaking towards the downside and having that big reaction towards the downside as well.
yeah. I would say that it's not really an if anymore, is it? It's
No,
more of a when.
yeah. You got to say
There
if
you go.
just to protect yourself, but yeah, it's more like a when
And,
right now.
yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, look, thanks for joining. And we will see you tomorrow. And I would just want to leave you with Tom is the cat, Jerry is the mouse. Always use
There we
protection,
go.
guys.
Yeah, always use the protection as well.
Right. Don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. See you
Thank you
later.
very much for watching, guys. Smash that like button, and we'll see you tomorrow.